Hi everyone. I think we can start. I hope the lunch was good. My name is Martin Gubel, and I'm here to present Odoo Studio, or to build a complete app from scratch without development. If you followed the keynote from yesterday, this will be a more detailed presentation of Studio, and I'll explain step by step how to do it because Anthony was a bit quick. So let's start. This is the plan. I'll start quickly with an introduction, and then I'll go through a live demo that will last the main part of this presentation. We'll start by create and structure the application, and then customize basic views. We'll then add more views, more cool stuff, of course, and I'll explain you how to not be stuck with Studio. And I'll conclude by the future developments that we have planned. All right, so Studio is meant to customize every views, menus, models fields from your database as an admin. So it's only the admin that can customize everything. And it's built as a simple and intuitive way of doing your customizations instead of doing all the XML by yourself. So for the live demo, this is our use case. So I chose the application name Odoo Care. So the idea is to manage all the operation that could happen in a hospital day to day. So the patient arrives at the hospital. A lot of information are filled about this patient, and it is integrated inside a service. A doctor will take care of this patient, and then we will schedule appointments for this patient with a doctor. So this is the use case that we will use through the whole demo. Yes. So this is how the application will look in Studio. So we have the main application, Odoo Care, with 4 menus. One with the patients, one with the doctor's appointment, and then configuration for services. Yep. So for the use case, we will need a few models, and I design it like this. So we have the services, the patient, doctor, and appointment, and they are linked together. So a patient is inside the services, and a doctor will take care of this patient. We will set appointments between doctor and patients. So this is the basic idea for you to follow the demo. Okay, let's start. So we will first create the application, so the top menus, and then the models, and finally we structure it for the menus. All right, so here it's a fresh database without anything. Just a Studio which has been installed. And you arrived here in the app switcher, and the idea is to create a new application. So you will here, you have the icon Studio, and then you just enter in the Studio mode. As you can see, I'm logged in as an administrator, so that's why I can access it. Let's create a new app. We'll choose its name. Okay. And we will create a new model for it. So the idea is that each time we enter in the application, that's the model that will appear. So our first and main model is the patient. Right now, by doing this, we create a new model on the fly. All right? And here we can choose the icon of the application. We can choose the color, we can choose the background color, and some icons. We'll choose this because we are in a hospital. All right, so here the application has been created. So as you can see here, my new application is here. And this is the main action that has been created. So first I will edit this menu. So again, entering in studio mode. And here you have edit the menu. So you can do whatever you want. You can drag and drop. You can delete menus, and you can, for example, rename it. I will rename it patient here. And I'll create a new menu. So one for doctor, one for operations and appointment, and one for services. So here, this will be doctors. And again, a new model will be linked to this menu. All right, appointments. And I'll create a menu named configuration without any model. This is just for navigate. And finally, services. All right. And I'll move services inside configuration. My bad. And I'll move this service inside configuration. All right, so this is my new menu. All my models have been created, and I can now start the customization of basic views. So here, with Studio, you can build the layout of the views. You can add new elements in the views. Just there, you can see you can add either fields, columns, or notebook. The text and the pictures are not yet available. And you can create new fields to add them inside the views. This is for later, all right? So I'll start with services because it's the simplest one. All right, so right now, if I want to create a new service, there's only name. And I would like to, for example, add a floor or stuff like this. So again, entering in studio mode. And here I can customize my view. So first of all, there's this title that have been created for you to organize them. But here I don't need them, so I will delete them. I'm just keeping the fields. All right. And here, if you go over the form view, you are now able to add stuff. So here, I can either create fields, column or notebook. I will here just add a new field called floor. Here, this is all the fields available for this model. So all these fields are the default one. When you create a new model, you have all these fields. But we don't need them. We need a new one, so create a new one, which is called floor. I called it X here. It's the technical name. This is only because all the custom models and fields needs to be named X underscore. That's why. And here, I choose a type for my new field. Here, it's a floor, so it will be a number. So integer. And I don't need this. All right, so here is my new field. I just want to do a quick parenthesis about the field types in Odoo because I think it's useful to understand what I will be doing just afterwards. So you have all the basic types, which are Boolean, which is actually only true, false. Integer, which are numbers, float with decimals, char, which is a text, text, which is a text but more details, date and date times. Date time are just if you want more precision. So this is the basic one. and then you have selection and relational fields. I will go into a little bit of details just for you to understand what I'm doing. So a selection is a list of values that you can choose. So you can choose element inside. So for example, if you have color, but you don't want your user to only put a character, you can provide options for him. So for example here, blue and yellow. And you specify the possible values. And I will create a selection field afterwards. That's why I'm showing you this. And you have also the relational fields that are a little bit more complex because they imply a relation between two models. So for example, we will have a relation between a patient and a doctor. And this relation is called a many-to-one. And we will need here to specify the name of the model that we refer. All right. So here, I think I'm good for services. So I will create, for example, emergency at 0. All right. And psychology at floor 1. Okay, here are my services. Here's the list of services. I would also like to have the floor inside the view list. So I will, again, customize it. And here, if you hover again, you see this plus button to add new fields. And as we already created the floor field, we can just select it here, and the field appear. All right, so I think I'm done with services. Let's do, for example, doctors. For doctors, so again, a doctor is linked to a service. So I will add a relation between the doctor and the service. So here, for now, it's just the name. So I will add some fields. Here, I will change it, and I will add a service. And this is the relation fields. And here, as I said, we put the model that is linked, so it's a service. All right. What else can we do? Here, we want to change the label of the name, and we'll say doctor name. All right. Do we need anything else? I don't think so. I think it's good. Yep, let's create some doctors. Doctor 1. And doctor 2. Okay. Third one, patients. Patient is linked with doctor and is linked to a service. So same operation. Right, service. A doctor. Doctor. And here we'll create, for example, when the patient arrived, he will probably fill a lot of information about him. For example, blood type, birth date, and stuff like this. So we will create here a new notebook with all this information. We'll create here notebook, and we'll call patient information. right? And here inside this notebook, we create 2 groups. And for example, here we'll create a new field for his blood type. As the blood type is can only be A, B, O, and O, I will create a selection field to be sure that when the patient encodes this field, we are sure that he only selects this value. So we create a new selection field, and here are the possible options. I have created them here: A, B, and O. Here it is. All right, and we also want to, for example, say this patient has been is inside the hospital, or this patient is out the hospital is done. So we want to put a new field called state to filter the patient that has been dealt. So state. And this state is also only in or out. Oh, forgot label. All right, I think we're good. So, for example, patient 1. Patient 2. Blood type, you see only these values, all right, AB and in. All right, this is good for patient, I think. Of course, we can add a lot more information here, but I won't go into all the details. And then appointment. So appointment, he has a doctor that will take care of the patient, and he has a start date and an end date. So we will be able to organize the schedule of the doctors. Doctor. Service. Okay, and here I will add a new notebook also called schedule. All right, with the start date and the end date. Start dates, which is a date time because we also want the time, and the end date. Time, where are you? Here. All right. I think we're good for the basic views. Just create 2 appointments. Appointments with Dr. 1, starting today at, let's say, 2 p.m. and it will last 2 hours. So let's say 4 p.m. right. Duplicate it. Appointment 2. I forgot something. I forgot to put the patient. Yeah. All right. Here, I'll put the patient. Patient ID. Right. So this will be. That's good. And this will be with patient 1, appointment 2. Appointment 1, patient 1. All right. So here, I think we are good. We have the basic views. So we can now create all data. But we want to add more views. Because, so here are the basic view that we have right now. We have a list view, we have a form view, and we have always a search view. So here we can search, for example, for the name. But in Odoo, there is a lot more views. For example, the Kanban views that is used to group your records for workflow management, for example, and we will use this for patients to say, or okay, I have one column for inpatients and one column for outpatients, and I will drag and drop them. There's the graph view that is used to visualize aggregation. This could be used, for example, to visualize the number of appointments per day or stuff like this, or the number of patients by service. The pivot view, but we won't use it, and the calendar view. So we will use this for the appointments to schedule all the appointments by doctor. And this is a view that needs some mandatory fields, for example, a start date and an end date to be able to see the view. So we will add one Kanban view, one calendar view, and we will rearrange them the way we like. So here it is. For patient, we will add here. So we will customize the view, but now if you click here on views, you have here the screen with all the possible views that you can add. In white, the one that are here right now, and in gray, the one that are not here, but that you can activate them. And here, this little house means that that this is the primary view. So when we enter inside the menu, this is the view that will display. And for patients here, I will add the Kanban view. And I want it to be the first one. So I put it set as default. And now this is the primary view. So here, if I go in patient here, this is my patients. And Kanban view is the first one. And I want to group them by state. All right. Forgot to put it here. It was out. All right. So here, if my patient is out, I can just drag and drop it. So that's useful. For appointment, I will add a calendar view for my appointments. So here, calendar, and also I want to put a default. So here you have a calendar view. You can use it as a day or week, and then you see all the appointments. You can also create them from here and put appointment for doctors. All right, I think this part is good. Yep. Okay. More cool stuff. So with Studio, we have right now, you have the possibilities to edit the form view and the list view. And basically, in Odoo, in the form view, we generally have this button box at the top, and this is used to have more easily accessible to other related content of this form. So, for example, I want to have a link in my service to see all my patients, and I will do that just afterwards. And then I also able to add a chatter. So the chatter is used to communicate about a record. So I will add, for example, a chatter on appointments. And with that, my doctors will be able to communicate together about this appointment. And then we'll see a bit more parametered with the sidebar that you have probably see on the right side. So here on services, I want my button box at the top. So here I add the button box. And I want to see all my patients. You choose an icon. This is all the font awesome icon. I will use a user. And here you have all the fields that points to service. So the model appointment points to service, doctor also has service, and patient has service. So here I want to see all my patients. All right, and then you see you have this button, and you can click on it, and you have the patient of this service. So that's nice. And I also want to add here, as I said, a chatter. So it's this person here to communicate about appointments. So now it's done. I can write messages about this appointment. Don't forget the tools. All right. What else? Yes. For example, I want my patient to always have blood type because it's really important for me. So what I'm doing here, for example, is say, okay, this field, I want it cannot be empty, so it's required, and I can say, for example, here, okay, required now. So when the information are created about these patients, you cannot create it without blood type. So that's one thing you can do with this sidebar, but there's a lot of, so if you click here, you have the parameters of the view. So for example, you don't want your user to delete patients from the view, so you can just uncheck this, and then now we cannot delete it anymore. And if you click, for example, on the fields, there's a lot of stuff here. You can just change its label. You can add a helper, and yeah, that's it. You can also, if you don't want to have, for example, a field, you can also from here remove it from the view. And if by mistake you remove something that you didn't want to remove, there's also this undo button. That's pretty useful. Yeah, I think it's good here. What could be useful? All right, here for Studio, as you can see, right now there's only the list view and the form view that is editable easily, as I told you. And of course, we'll afterwards we will add for every views, but we didn't want to stuck you to edit what you want. So we added what we called the XML editor. So this is only available in the developer mode, but you can see everything that has been done, and you can change everything yourself. So I think this is where the developer will also like a lot Studio. So I can show you here. You enter in the developer mode. And for example, I wasn't able to modify the Kanban view right here because we didn't yet did it. But you can right-click here, and here you have the XML of this Kanban view, and you can just, for example, say, okay, I want my blood type here. And I want a label, say, blood type. And you have, on the fly, you can see the changes. And you can also undo them if you don't want to. So, yeah, that's it for the XML editor. So I think it's very useful, and we made it more accessible with this. And there's also this button that is useful, more parameters. You will see it's on every record. So here you have more parameters for this action. If you go inside the form, you have more parameters for this form view, and if you click here, you have more parameters for this field. And this will brings you to the record that you can edit, and all the settings are available here. So we didn't want we wanted to be able to do everything from Studio, even if we didn't add the possibility as an easy way. So yep. All right. For conclusion, so of course this is I chose a very simple example for Odoo Care. We could have done a lot of stuff with this module, but I wanted to keep it simple. For example, we could have used an existing model for a patient and a doctor, which is a partner, which is a model in Odoo. So we don't have to do it everything from scratch, but that was the idea of the demo, so create a model from scratch. We could have managed employee schedule with it. We could have assigned 3 treatments for patients and like a regular basis and stuff like this. But I wanted to keep it simple, but you can do whatever you want. That's up to you. And a little word about future developments. I know there's a lot of you that ask for an option to export the changes and import it in another database. And that's something that we want to, and that will probably be developed in the next weeks or so. We will add the WYSIWYG edition for every views. We've already started for the Kanban views, but you will have this nice and easy editor for every views. We'll also be able to select a widget for a field. For example, if you have already seen a customer form view, you will have this widget called stars, and then you just assign a widget to a field, and that's pretty useful. You will be able to also customize subviews. So, for example, if you have a list view inside a form view, right now you cannot edit it, but you will be able to do it. You will be able to upload an image for your application. Right now, you can only select from the possible one right here, but you will be able to upload yourself here. What else? Change the app switcher background. For those who don't like the Odoo pink, it will be possible from here. And we will add, of course, more and more options inside Studio, so you will be able to really do everything from there. Yeah, I think I'm done for today. If you have any questions, do not hesitate. And if you are not convinced that that's awesome, just try it yourself, or come and see us at the workshop. we'll show you and you can try. Thank you. I don't know if there is a microphone if you have any questions. Daisy?
Okay, a small thing. How could we define default value for text field or many to one field?
This is not possible right now with Studio, but you can just, I think, with developer mode, for example, here, the patient, I can put here set defaults, and you can create default value for the fields. But this is not yet possible for with Studio directly. But it's of course something that we will do. Yep, so the question was, is it possible with the list view to make it editable? And of course, we did that. So here in Studio, inside the sidebar here, you have all the options. And here, editable, you can say, okay, of course, I want it editable from top, bottom. And if you do that, here you could edit the view in place inside of edited from the form view. Top and bottom is just when I create new record, it will be placed on top on the bottom of the view. But yes, it's possible. You're welcome. Any more questions? Yeah, maybe. That could be an option also.
Yeah, so the battery is empty, so you're going to need to speak loud. Sorry.
So the question is Studio available only in Enterprise Edition? And the answer is yes. And the other question was, is it possible to create your module with the Enterprise Edition and then in a Community Edition just import the module? And I don't see any reason why you couldn't do that. So yes, I think it will be possible. Except if you create a module based on models that are only on the Enterprise Edition, it will of course crash when you import the module. But yeah, apart that, I think it's okay. Yes. So if I understood the question, it was is it already available in version 10? Is that right? Oh yeah. Normally we don't do improvements in stable versions, so that's normally only for version 10. But we maybe will do exception for Studio. I cannot promise anything. But for For the SaaS version of it, we update it every 2 months approximately. So these new features will be available as soon as the new SaaS version is out. But for the version 10, I'm not sure that the new feature will be available in 10. Yes. All right. Sorry, I didn't understand the question, Bing. So the question is it possible to put a domain on the made to one, for example, and here, if I click here, you have this domain here, and you can put everything you want. Right now, it's you have to write it as it is and interpret it in Python. So, for example, a domain could be here, let's say, I don't know, service like floor, was X floor, equal to 1. I think it should work. And if you create it, yes, you only have the floor at floor 1. We also have the intention of improve that because this is not very user-friendly. We have some mockups to be able to create domains and with an easy way. So yeah, but that's possible. But right now it's not very user-friendly.
So the micro is back.
Lucky me. So the question is, can it also work on the point of sale module? So the front end and all the...
Yeah. Actually, the point of sale is an action called client action. So it's not the regular action of Odoo, which are here the action that you usually see with the view that you know. And this is right now not possible to customize other action than the normal actions, I would say. And I don't think that we will change that. I mean, there is no defined template for this action. You can do whatever you want, so it's quite difficult to build something to customize it because you can do everything. So I'm not sure you will be able to customize the bus with that.
Hi. Maybe something about constraints. If I would like to have the end date greater than the start date, can I do that?
That's a good question. I'm thinking. I don't know. Yeah, maybe you can do a server action to say, okay, check if there is a constraint. You can do that here in automation, and you create a server action. But just with this, you cannot put constraint right now. So yeah, I think the server action are the way you can do it.
Is it possible to have the workflows and action buttons?
So the action buttons are the one outside the form, and also the workflow. The workflow, I think we will do that because it's something very useful in the form views. This is not possible right now, but I think we'll do something for that.
So was it so that the search view is not modifiable right now, but it will be in the future?
Yes, we also have nice mockups to be able to modify the form view, the search view easily. What you can only do right now is modify it with the XML editor. It should be. Oops. But soon.
Okay. And will you be able to then change the available options in the search filters and groupings
Sure.
sections?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's definitely possible.
Yeah. And just as a small note, when you talked about how you wanted to make the domain more user-friendly, the domain selection, will you also try to see to it that, for example, in the developer mode, that more complicated full expression mode will still be available?
Yeah, of course. I think we will never decrease the possibility that you can do. We can only grow the possibilities, but I think it should be like this. Like in developer mode, you have both options: either write it yourself with a string, either use the easy way. Yeah. No more questions? If you have any more questions, do not hesitate to come to the workshop. We are there all day long. Yeah. Thank you.